Hey, this is Tim here in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, and beautiful spot actually. This dumpster doesn't do it justice, but not too far from Coney Island. I'm going to head up to Bethel Baptist Fellowship. We're trying to continue to answer this question, why do bad things happen? And our first answer to that was that bad things happen because bad people do bad things, and we looked at that last time. Today we're going to give another answer. Actually, God made all things good. God made a perfect creation. But He made it with a condition of life or death. Life for obedience and death for disobedience or rebellion. And He gave Adam and Eve that choice. And they chose, Adam chose rebellion. He chose to eat what God had said not to eat. And the Bible says when he did that, he died. There was a beginning of death pains there. But that death actually passed upon all of creation. There was a curse there that creation endures to this day. The Bible describes it as going through the birth pains, waiting for a future time when God will fix all. We're going to get to that in a minute. But these are the birth pains, this condition, this fallen condition. That's what we call it, the fall. But it's a brokenness. There's earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes. These are all the pains that we all endure, but the earth is enduring it. Those birth pains and that hurricane effect plays out individually as well. Cancer, death, all stems from that original penalty from sin. This is not the way God made it to be. He made a perfect, beautiful garden of existence with Him. We've chosen our own way, and we suffer the consequences. But what's neat, there's not a whole lot of grace talk yet, but what's neat is that God is making all things new. He is restoring us back to that original garden. He's fixing everything. He's fixing all of our brokenness. That's the story of the Bible. Jesus came to die, but that death was one that would take the curse. He took upon Himself on the cross your curse, your sin, my sin, and He suffered an eternal penalty. That was not just as an example, but it was a taking upon Him the weight of the world, the lostness, the brokenness of all of us, and suffering in our place, that we may have a restoration. And in the meantime, He's restoring things today, allowing the brokenness that we feel to do good things. He's allowing even the brokenness of disasters, the brokenness of death, of disease. He's circumventing that and making good. He's renewing us individually. This is one story this illustrates this church. Just 5 years ago, 2012, a couple blocks that we just walked, Hurricane Sandy. And that water had come all the way up here and had flooded this church to where it's like most of it was underwater, like up to the pew seat level. And so they hadn't planned on renewing this place, remodeling, making it all new. In fact, they had just sent $20,000 to a foreign mission field to help out someone else. But because there was Hurricane Sandy, because there was this brokenness that they say, was it $75 billion worth of brokenness? That's a lot of brokenness. And even death. Very difficult pain. But even in all that trial, God brought good from it. And so there was $100,000 sent here to help remodel this place and make it new. And there's many stories of grace even here, of God making all things new here. This used to be, where I'm standing was a mosque. Over here was a spot that hosted, I think filthy websites. Next door is a Chinese takeout, which is still there, great. But then the next two places that they have or illegal gambling place, and you had to kind of knock on the door and open the little shutter to see who it was before they let you in. God's making even these things new, right? He's restoring us. And so when we feel the pain that comes from brokenness, let's face it with faith, knowing that the brokenness is but for a time, and God is making all things new. The words of grace then today are John's. I saw a new heaven and a new earth. The old had passed away. And this new one was one without pain, without death, without tears, without sorrow, because God had made all things new.